Access granted.
I am back to interviewing streamers and asking them about their background, how they got to Twitch, and their journey as streamers. My goal is to drop an episode at least twice a month. Do whatever the equivalent of following is on the platform you are listening to this on, so you know when I have dropped the next episode of Stream Machine. If you end up enjoying this episode, please give it 5 stars or whatever that is on the platform you're listening on, so that this podcast can grow. And thank you for that.
This is episode 12 of Stream Machine, and in this episode I interviewed DrLeandra, spelled DrLeandra. We also just call her Dr. L. And I initially met her through KansaiMarc, who's another streamer I interviewed on this podcast. And I find her story interesting because when she was younger, she wasn't playing video games all the way up to like high school. She was athletic, she was studious, and it wasn't until she was an adult that she actually tried to play video games. And she found something that she liked, and she stuck with it. I think that's really cool, because what that tells me is that it doesn't matter whether you've tried it in the past or not. You can still find a video game you like later. Just keep an open mind, and maybe you'll find something that you enjoy, like she did. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for listening. Have you played any like retro RPGs that give you like a choices matter kind of situation?
So I'm playing through Golden Sun, and in the first one, there's a part where you are being given this main quest, and the town elder actually says to you, like, are you willing to take this on? Like, will you do this? And I just hit yes, because I figured I was supposed to hit yes, and what else am I going to do? But apparently, if you hit no enough times, you get a game over.
Oh,
It's just like,
I love that.
yeah.
I love that.
It's like, okay, you don't want to go on an adventure? Then you don't want to play the game, I guess.
Hey, Dr. L.
Hey, Gold, how are you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll be asking you a lot of questions today, and you'll do great because it's your story.
Right.
And yeah, so these questions will be not just about you as a gamer, not just about you as a streamer, because you're more than just a gamer and a streamer. You've done a lot of other things too. So this is about understanding what your life was like before then, what your interests were, because I think that's interesting to know more about the person you see on the screen beyond them just streaming and gaming.
For sure.
So, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so originally you're from Canada, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Can you say like what province you're from originally?
I'm from Ontario.
Ontario, okay. And I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get an overview of like all the places you've been, then we'll like zoom in after that.
Oh, gosh.
So eventually you moved. How many different places have you been in Canada? Well, just Ontario?
Yeah, I've only lived in Ontario.
Gotcha. Okay. And like how long have you eventually moved to Texas? And how long have you been in Texas for?
I eventually moved to Texas. I've been in Texas for 5 years now, but before
Okay.
that, I did live in Virginia for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also I should have said this at the beginning, but also yeah, sorry. So her name on stream is not Dr. L. It's Dr. Leandra. So DrLeandra. So you can find her at twitch.tv/Dr. Leandra. So sorry, I should have said it at the beginning, but
We're too
um
casual, me and you.
yeah. So I have a silly question,
Okay.
and it's because like I moved to the US when I was like 14, and I used to say a lot,
Yeah.
and now I don't because my cousins tease it out of me, and I want to know if you had that kind of phase also.
Oh no, like I think now that I live in the US, I say it more
Oh,
just
really?
to bother people and to like maybe a little bit try to make it a thing here, you know?
Yeah,
No, I throw in tons of A's, all of them. All of them.
it's like a secret invasion.
Yeah. I honestly I think you should join in on this.
Okay.
Don't repress. Don't repress your A's.
Yeah, I gotta bring it back out.
Yeah.
And so when you were growing up in Canada, what were your like, what were the major things you were into? Like, what did you do for fun?
I was a very busy person. Like even like through elementary school, high school, like most of my nights were busy. Like I was a
Mm-hmm.
very packed schedule. I guess the biggest thing that I did was figure skating.
Oh,
I don't know
cool.
if you know that.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't know
But
that.
no, I used to skate 3 to 4 nights a week, and then when I went to university, I skated on the varsity team there.
Oh,
So
awesome.
figure skating was a big part of my life. Apart
Mm-hmm.
from that, I did a lot of volleyball. I played club volleyball
Mm-hmm.
and big into bowling, 5-pin bowling.
Would you consider yourself? I don't know if you consider yourself now athletic, but at least then, did you consider yourself pretty like athletic or?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Um.
I was in that weird niche, at least in high
Mm-hmm.
school, where I was on the sports teams
Mm-hmm.
and like doing the athletic stuff, but then also I was the smart girl, right? Um, so it was like, is she cool or is she smart? Because you can't be both of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird intersection for me, but good.
Um. So talking about this, I can't help but think about when you started doing your push-up challenge on stream.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! I did it! I fucking did it! Holy fuck! Airtide, go do 50 push-ups right now.
So does that? I guess do you have a stronger, I guess, lower body than upper body, or?
Oh yeah, I mean think about anything you do on the ice skating. It's
Yeah.
all your
Yeah.
legs. So like my quads, very strong. My
Mm-hmm.
squat game, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But my upper body has always been kind of a
Neglected.
yeah, neglected, a down point for me. So that was kind of the initiation of that. I decided, you know what? I want to be able to
Mm-hmm.
do a real push-up. Because I couldn't. I could only do like assisted push-ups. So that's where that
Awesome.
came from. And now we're up
And
to I can do 4, which
nice. Yeah, you're making
sounds
progress.
stupid, but is big for me.
Yeah. 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 No, progress is
Yeah,
progress.
right.
Um, and so your Twitch name is DrLeandra, but you're like actually you have a PhD, right?
Right. I have a PhD in animal science.
Okay. And when did you start getting interested in animal science?
I think always. When I was a child, the goal was kind of to be a vet, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that was only the goal because I didn't really know what other ways you could be involved with animals and like working with animals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was the goal for a while. And then, I mean, I got to university and I met some of the professors and I learned the kind of research they were doing. And then I kind
Mm-hmm.
of switched gears like, hey, this is also cool. And I don't have to talk to people who own pets on a daily basis.
And so, like, what kind of research do you do, or have you done, if you can talk about it in like animal science?
Yeah, for sure. So most of my research experience is with agricultural animals. So
Mm-hmm.
my PhD was with pigs, for example, and then I moved on to work with chickens and
Mm-hmm.
cows. And most of it has revolved around using nutrition as a tool to improve their health and performance. So
Mm-hmm.
manipulating what we feed them in order to make them just better animals in general. Obviously, I had some very specific goals in my different research projects, but that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the higher level. What does she do?
Okay, gotcha. Um, and as far as like Virginia, did anything like significant happen there, or was it just kind of like passing through?
So I was in Virginia. I did a postdoc there at Virginia Tech. So
Okay.
that's where I did the cow work because they
Mm-hmm.
have a very large dairy um, department. So I worked with
Mm-hmm.
dairy cattle, specifically looking at how we could feed them to improve their pregnancy rates
Oh,
because
interesting.
diet is related to hormone regulation. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the idea was, can we manipulate the diets to make their hormones, the hormone profile improved so that they become pregnant more reliably?
And I mean, just out of curiosity, is there a way to improve their
Um,
like pregnancy?
yeah, the angle I was looking at was
Mm-hmm.
through feeding propionate. I don't know how sciencey to get here, um,
Mm-hmm.
but can we make the microbes in the rumen create more propionate, which is a volatile fatty acid, which is where cows
Mm-hmm.
get their energy from.
Okay.
Because higher propionate levels means higher progesterone levels, which is good for ovulation.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. No, that's perfect. Um, and then after that, you moved to Texas, and yeah, why did you? If you can talk about that, why did you make that move?
Yeah, so the Texas move was not a me move. It was a my husband and I move. So we were
Ah, okay.
both at Virginia Tech, and then
Mm-hmm.
nearing the end of our time there, we were both applying for jobs. We both
Mm-hmm.
got offers, and I lost the battle of the best salary. So that's why we're
Okay.
in Texas now.
Yeah.
Yeah, else we'd be in Delaware. But
Um.
yeah, so the Texas move was very much like a sacrifice on my part,
Mm-hmm.
because we came here knowing that I would not have employment for a bit, and then
Mm-hmm.
visa complications. I don't know if we want to get into that, but we can if you want to.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the gist is I've only been legally able to have income for the past year despite having been in Texas for
Oh,
5 years,
okay.
just
Yeah,
due to changes in visa types, and changes in rules with
that's
the
so weird.
administration. So, for the past, I mean, prior to the past year, it was applying for status and trying to get my employment authorization. And we have that, or I have that. I've had that for about a year now and recently got a green card. So all
Nice.
is well now. But yeah, it
Um,
was a very big struggle
mhm.
for 4 years. It's a long time to do nothing or like relatively nothing, you know?
Yeah. I wonder why it's so difficult now because I remember so I moved to California with my mom in like 2000 and I got a green card because of her getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering uh I mean your husband's an American citizen, right? But it's
No,
still
no,
no,
we
he's
are
not. Oh,
both
I see.
Canadian, and that's yeah, that makes it trickier.
I see. I see.
Yes. So yeah, there are rules made to visa types where he was on a specific visa type, and me as a dependent on that visa type. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of this man. There was a man named Donald Trump, and when he was in power, he changed the rules where
Yeah.
H-4 holders could no longer have income, which
Oh,
is
crazy.
what a dependent on an H-1B visa
I see.
is. So yes.
That's pretty nuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, just for me to be clear, so you're waiting for, are you're waiting on the green card in order to be able to have paid work? Is that, or I guess legally paid work?
Like, are you asking what were the steps to be able to get paid work?
Um,
So I have my green card now. I have
okay,
had
right,
my
okay.
employment authorization for a
Mm-hmm.
year. The employment authorization is something anyone on an H-4 visa can apply for,
Okay.
but it is a long process. And that just
Um,
means you can, yes, you can legally be employed and have income even
okay.
though you don't have a green card yet.
Um, so since the green card is a like a relatively recent development, does that mean you were not able to like like are you still doing have you been able to do research here or no?
I've not got a research job, but when I got my employment authorization, I took a job in scientific editing. So that's what I've been doing for the past
I
year or
see.
so. Yeah.
Okay. And that's just like proofreading others like research papers or like
Yeah, I work for a company who works with mostly English as a second
mm-hmm.
language authors who are looking to publish in English journals.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a mix of both language editing as well as content editing
Okay.
because I am
Mm-hmm.
employed specifically in the field of plant and animal science. So most of the papers
Mm-hmm.
that I read are related to that so that I can give feedback not only on
Mm-hmm.
their language, but also on their scientific terminology and perhaps things they might want to include in their paper that a journal could ask for.
Gotcha. Okay. Um and going back to the the activities you did when you were like in like high school, for example, do you still do those things now or like what do you do for activity and fun now?
Yeah, I'm still playing volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
I go to a pickup once a week, and I have played in league. I'm not in a league right now, but I think in
Mm-hmm.
January I'm starting up in a women's league with a new group of ladies that I've not
Nice.
played with before, but I'm excited for that. I had been skating. I used to skate 2 mornings a week, but
Mm-hmm.
we moved a bit further away from the ice rink, and ice rinks are not
Mm,
super popular in
yeah.
Texas. So I've
Yeah.
stopped doing that just because I think it would take me over an hour to get there, and that's a bit too far for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I'm wondering, so you're right now you're an RPG streamer, and I'm wondering at which point did you get into like RPG games?
Um, at what point? So I think like during grad school, I guess.
Hmm, okay.
I had access to my then boyfriend's Xbox
Hmm,
and I
mhm.
played Skyrim.
Ah, okay.
That was like kind of my entry point. And
Mhm,
I at that point I didn't even really know what an RPG meant or like what that meant. I just knew that I liked that I was a character and I had full
mhm,
control over how this
mhm,
character grew and evolved, and I could customize them to play how I wanted them to play,
mm, mhm.
and the stories really appealed to me. That's yeah.
So, okay, so I haven't played a lot of like I know of Skyrim. I haven't played it myself, but is it kind of like first person D&D sort of or no?
Ooh, would you call it? I don't know if I would call it D&D. I mean, Baldur's Gate is very D&D, right?
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Um uh, yeah, I mean it's just an RPG. It's got a magic system. You can choose a class. I guess maybe that makes it more D&D-esque, but there's no like are there skill checks based on your levels and things?
Mhm.
Gosh, I can't remember. Maybe?
I guess a question to one answer or an answer to one question that could help me is like are there when you go through a single playthrough, is there more than one path you can take?
Do your choices affect the story? That's what you're asking? I think yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Um, and then I thought I remembered you saying on stream that you do sometimes play D&D as well.
Yeah, I play on a good schedule. We play every other Sunday with a
Mm-hmm.
group of friends, and actually that campaign has been going for 3 years now. But it's been really good. We are maybe close to wrapping up. I think my DM said he hopes to finish this campaign next year is the goal. But yeah. Well, the thing is, like, best laid plans, right? I think he knows what he wants us to do and where he wants the
Right.
story to go, but like we fuck around a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, with the story already being that long, how do you even know what the end is? Like,
Okay, so well, I mean, I can tell you
mm-hmm,
how I know.
mm-hmm,
So right now we are gearing up to fight the big bad. Okay, and
okay.
it's a little bit of like a Horcrux kind of situation, if you get that reference, where we are going around and collecting five specific powers for the
Mm,
five party members that will
mm-hmm.
allow us to defeat this big bad. So
Okay,
right now
okay.
we have two of the five, and we
Mm-hmm,
have to get the rest of them, and then I think we
mm-hmm.
go to the climax. We go to the showdown and see what we've got.
Okay, so from the get-go, you've had these like defined things you need to get to beat the boss, and you're like at the last one of those, basically.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily from the get-go. There was a lot of preamble
Oh,
to
okay.
leading up to how are we
Mm-hmm,
gonna defeat this guy in the end.
mm-hmm,
But that is the main storyline that we're following right now. Um,
okay.
so I think next episode, which is this Sunday, playing this
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, I think we're fighting a kraken, and
Nice. Okay.
we're fighting a kraken as part of a deal we made with an Lich, and he is going to give us the power of undeath.
Nice. Okay. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, so just again being curious, okay, so after this campaign is done, do you just start another campaign or like
That's a good question, isn't it? We have a really good group, and I really like playing with them, so I kind of hope
mm,
we keep doing something. Um,
mm-hmm,
we might switch out the person who's DMing, but we will see.
mm,
I hope it doesn't die. I
yeah,
hope we still, hang out every other week
mm-hmm,
or something. Cause yeah, it's a lot of fun.
mm-hmm. And so your first uh your first like I guess RPG was Skyrim, and then what are some other of your like major like RPGs that you like hold close to your heart?
I am a very, very big Dragon Age fan.
Mm-hmm,
Um, I don't know. I loved those games. I loved that once you finish the first one and then you go to start the
mm-hmm.
second one, it wants your save file so that it can bring over what you did in the first one, and your like
Yeah.
what you did matters. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm very excited for Dragon Age 4 whenever that's coming. If anyone
Mm.
knows, like, drop some info on me. I'd love to hear it. Uh,
Yeah.
also, big Fallout fan. I played a lot of Fallout
Mm,
as one of my like earlier RPG-esque experiences. But
um, I've seen a little bit of Dragon Age, and it's by the same people who made Mass Effect as well, right?
is that true? That could be true.
Uh,
I've not played Mass Effect.
it also seemed to have like a similar format, like because Dragon Age also has this thing where like they give you some choices to choose from the dialogue. You choose one, and that can.
Yep, yep. It
Mm,
matters.
mhm.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's what I like.
Yeah,
Another,
same with Fallout, right?
yeah, another
Mm,
game that I played like fairly
hmm.
early was Fable.
I remember the name. I haven't played it though.
It's got a similar vibe too. Like your choices matter. Like you could do an evil playthrough of
Hmm.
it. It just like affects the opinion of NPCs
Hmm.
um, on you, which affects what you're able to do. But
So I feel like these days you're playing a lot of like correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like these days you're playing a lot of like I think traditional RPGs. Is that fair?
yeah, like more older retro, I guess.
Yeah. Um.
Good. Oh, you haven't done that ever before, ever. You have a heal? What?
Have you played any like retro RPGs that give you like a choices matter kind of situation?
Oh gosh. Now that's interesting.
Hmm.
Choices matter. I'd have to think on that because you make you make some dialogue decisions. I guess
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that my community actually told me. So I'm playing through Golden Sun, and
Mm-hmm.
in the first one, there's a part where you are being given this main quest, and the town elder actually says to you, like, are you willing to take this on? Like, will you do this? And I just
Yeah.
hit yes because I figured I was supposed to hit yes, and what else am I going
Mm-hmm.
to do? But
Right.
apparently, if you hit no enough times, you get a game over.
Oh,
It's just like,
I love that. I
yeah,
love that.
it's like, okay, you don't want to go on an adventure? Then you don't want to play the game, I guess.
It's, I mean, I guess it's a choice. I mean, well, honestly, I like that. I like that more than them forcing you to say yes,
Yeah.
because then, yeah, your no does have a consequence then. Um, and then
But
how did you? Oh, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
guess I was going to say, along the lines of your choices matter games,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also like games like Heavy Rain, or
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human, or
Mm-hmm.
Beyond Two Souls. I liked those, and in those, your choices definitely matter and shape like the pathways you take, right?
Yes. Okay. So wait, Heavy Rain has a lot of quick time events, right? Is that the same game that I'm thinking about?
Yeah, you're trying to save your son.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I do want to play the game, but I only know of it because it's been memed on very hard.
Oh, it's very good. It is very
Yeah.
good. If you're interested, you should try it.
Hmm.
I mean, don't let the memes set
No,
you
no, no.
off.
The memes are bringing me
Oh, okay,
in.
good, good, good.
That's what.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Um.
It's a serious game.
Mhm.
It's not a funny one. It's not a I don't know, it's not super uplifting, but
Yeah. Yeah. Um. And then yeah, as far as when did you? How long have you been streaming for?
on a regular basis, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Before then I kind of like dabbled here and there. I might go live and, just with whatever I was playing, but never in any organized fashion. But
Hmm.
yeah, about 2 years on the regular, like I'm live Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning.
As far as when you were kind of like on and off with it, is that because you had other commitments? Is it because you were confused with the technology? Like, what do you think it was?
No, I think it was just I didn't know, or I don't know, I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do with it. I was
Okay.
more just curious about like, hey, like what would happen if I hit go
Hmm.
live right now? Does
Hmm.
anybody
Hmm.
care about what I'm doing? And it was sometimes it would be to stream to friends.
Hmm.
I know now Discord streaming is probably easier for that, but we had a pretty decent friend group. We would play some games together. So if we were playing
Hmm.
like, I used to play a lot of CS, a lot of CS:GO. And sometimes if we were playing together, someone who couldn't play would want to watch the game, so I would stream the game.
Wait, do you mean like Counter Strike?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, I'm surprised by that because I cannot picture you
Right?
playing an FPS. Yeah.
So it's funny. A couple weeks ago, so in my Discord, we do this question of the day thing, which I
Mm-hmm.
think you are aware of. But I think I
Yeah.
asked, or someone asked, like, what game do you have the most number of played hours in? And I pulled up my Steam, and it's CS:GO for me.
Wow.
Yeah, but
So are you
but
really good?
no, I mean I'm not. I haven't played in probably 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the rest of my friends also sort of dropped off it. No, I'm not very good. I'm fine. I'm passable. I
Hmm.
I know the maps, I know the calls, I know where to go, and I'm okay. I'm okay.
Interesting. And how did you first become aware that like Twitch was a thing?
um, I think through GDQ, like
Ah, okay.
their biannual events.
Hmm.
Uh, I started watching those, and I thought they were awesome. And then I was like, well, what the heck else is on here? What else is on Twitch? And then I just kind of perused around. But
Mm.
GDQ brought me in because I mean, speedruns are just so fun to watch, and I love the hype surrounding those events.
Hmm.
I love their charity events, and yeah, that's really I think where I found that Twitch existed through a GDQ
That's
event.
interesting.
Yeah.
So many people I've talked to have found Twitch through GDQ.
Really?
Yeah, like
Well,
I've talked to three others before you that said, yeah, GDQ is how I found it, how I found Twitch.
it's a big deal. It's
Yeah.
a big deal.
So, like, would you watch like speedruns of like RPGs or like,
Do you mean
or what would you watch?
specifically during GDQ?
Yeah, or I don't know if you remember or not, but
I'll watch literally anything. I'll
mm.
watch anything they put on that screen. Because most of the time, the commentators are good enough that I can like I understand enough of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fun. It's just fun. I don't know. I feel the hype. I feel the hype through the screen. And like eventually, I would love to go to one in person. Although
Mm.
that hasn't been a thing yet for to happen for me, but in
Would
time.
you ever speedrun something yourself, or is it more just like because you just like watching it?
Um, Great question. Really good question. So dabbled. I dabbled
Mm-hmm.
in a little bit of speed run.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it was actually a community incentive that got met on my stream,
Mm-hmm.
and I did exactly 2 speed run streams,
Mm-hmm.
and I just felt so overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had it in my mind like you can stream this from like step 1 to step 1,000, this will make a great series. People want to see you learning and stuff. But I just like, no, that's not the way. You should do a lot of research offline first and maybe be able to do a run through all the way probably before streaming it. I don't know.
When you
It was a lot and I was overwhelmed.
when you say a lot of research, do you mean like pathing, like which items you have to get when, or like?
So, I guess before I even tried it, I
Mm-hmm.
watched a full run through, a full speed run of it, and
Mm-hmm.
I had notes open while I was watching them do it and
Mm-hmm.
following the notes,
Yeah.
and also maybe making some of my own within those notes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I did. But what I mean is that I think I would have benefited from at least getting through the speed run once
Yeah.
before
Okay.
going live with it.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as when you started streaming regularly, what triggered that? When did you make that? How did you make that decision?
I think I was just bored. I think I was just so bored because it was a pandemic. I couldn't go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. I couldn't have employment,
Mm-hmm.
and I the idea of having something regular on my schedule to motivate me to like get up and do something every day
Yeah.
like seemed like a good idea. So I committed to it. So I committed. And that was it, really.
Nice. Um, and then as far as I wanna say some things that I like about your stream also that I haven't seen other streams do before.
Okay.
Um, so I like that with every game that you play, all of your alerts, your overlays are themed to that game. Um,
I really like doing
and
that. I find that super fun.
yeah, it's really fun. And I don't know if people know, but I feel like that's like I don't know if you have like a system, but like it sounds like a lot of work as far as looking for like which gifs or videos you want where for like every event that you have on your stream.
Sure. It's also tricky because I do first playthroughs. So I often have to like vet the sound clips or the
Mm,
GIFs with someone who's
hmm.
played the game before to be like, is this actually
Yeah.
from this game? Or like, will this be recognizable? Because I have no idea.
Hmm. Um, oh, another question I want to ask related to streaming was, did you have any like major like influences as far as like streamers that you watched, or was it just kind of like learn as you go kind of thing?
Really learn as you go. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you were there for my first streams, I used to
Mm-hmm.
stream right off my PS4. Like no cam,
Mm,
just stream game from my PS4,
mm-hmm.
sitting on my couch. And then I decided, hey, like maybe I could upgrade this. Maybe I get a capture card and then I can have a
Mm-hmm.
video and people can see me while I'm streaming. And then
Mm-hmm.
just like step by step, bit by bit. Um, because also when I started, I lived in a different place. I didn't have an office. I didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
space that was private that I could stream from. So I was just sitting in my living room um, with a headset. That's it. And
And
then,
I guess now you have like a dedicated space for it.
right, I have my own office now, so I can
Yeah.
just do
Nice.
whatever I want with the space and close the door.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, and I think right now I'd like to go to your Discord and look at your chatter's questions.
Okay, I think they only
Um,
asked like 3 legitimate questions.
no, it's okay. We're gonna ask even the Mimi ones because I think everyone listening will appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll preface this with we're probably not answering two of the questions. We're just gonna read them
Oh,
and
they went
then
off the rails, these kids.
yeah,
Well, not kids, but you know.
yeah. Um, oh, also, I wanted to tell you that your question of the day channel in your server,
Yeah.
I copied that.
Okay,
Um,
fair enough.
yeah, because like I've only done it for like 3 days so far, but it's actually like a good way to get conversations going in your Discord. Actually,
Well, I mean, I started it because I just wanted to get to know everybody better,
yeah.
right? Because like on my stream, I am the only voice that gets to talk. And sure, like people can type into chat and whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I see your name go by, I see you say something, but I wanted to know my community better.
Yeah,
So that's why I started that channel.
yeah, that makes sense for sure. Also, sorry, before we get into the questions, is there anything that you do with your community in your Discord as well?
I mean,
Like to get to know them better or just spend more time with them?
we have a community server for 7 Days to Die up right
Mm-hmm.
now, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a bunch of us hang out in there, but
Yeah.
no, yeah, I don't know. Other than that, we don't not too much maybe. Just
Okay.
just general chatting, sharing
Yeah.
memes, you know.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let's go over here. All right. So yeah, in DrLeandra's server, she asked if they have any questions for me, and we're gonna start with the meme ones. I think this is Indiglo Stick. If you nut in space, does it push you backwards?
Yeah,
You're not getting an answer to that question because
right.
I don't think we have a way to test that. But
There's a lot of questions that are similar to that one.
yeah.
Hmm.
And Wagwo, I bet when you nut lying down, it moves the Earth slightly. That's his hypothesis. Or their his. I'm gonna say his.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing his. Um, okay. Last one on these is if everyone on Earth were magically teleported to one location and all nutted laying down, how far would the Earth move? That's Jason. So yeah, thank you, Jason.
Yeah, just like we really have they've reached the peak of maturity
Yeah.
with that. They really dug deep, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I think this is my demographic. My audience will love this.
Mm, right.
Um, but let's see. So CN asked, can you discuss a moment during a stream that really tested your limits?
Right, and I guess I wasn't sure which way CN was going with this,
Mm-hmm.
and I had thought about it 2 ways. So they could be asking either about, like, a game moment, like, something in a game that I was
Mm,
doing where I was like,
mm-hmm.
"Alright, like, fuck it." Or, if there was a moment where, like, something was happening in chat and
Right, right,
didn't I didn't like what was going on.
right.
Um, I'm gonna go with the former, I
Okay.
suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so this here's the moment. Here's the moment that really tested me. You played Majora's Mask, Gold.
I know of it. I know you can like change time.
Yeah.
Um,
You can't. I mean, the time changing is fine. Um,
yeah.
I got to this one boss fight in the
Mm-hmm.
water temple of that game. I can't even remember what the enemy's name was. It's a fish. It's a fish.
Okay.
Okay. Fought this fish probably 10, 20 times. It was a long time. Long time I fought this fish, couldn't beat this fish. Now, Majora's Mask is my husband's favorite game. And so, uh,
I'm sensing a disagreement.
oh, well, I mean, it's not my favorite game. I will say that.
Yeah,
But I was so upset and I had I felt so bad for being in this fight for so long. I went and got him. I brought him
yeah.
in. I handed him the controller and was like, "Yo, beat this fish for me. Like, I can't do this anymore." And I'm not like super proud of that, but also
hmm
it's fine. Like I'd rather have fun than like sit there bashing my brain against this boss fight for hours,
Yeah,
you know?
that's totally fair. Yeah,
Yeah. Not my best moment.
because yeah, I mean, it feels like you're wasting your time. So,
Yeah, I
um,
also am never sure like what it's always in the back of my mind. Maybe you know this too. Like what is entertaining? Like is the
yeah,
community
yeah.
enjoying this? Is this fun for them? Or are they as upset as I am that like I cannot do this, you know? So it's always like a battle I play in my mind.
At the very least, you get kind of self-conscious about it. Like,
Oh, yeah, for sure. But at the same time, I've watched other streamers do hard boss fights for hours and
hmm
like it doesn't bother them at all. And it doesn't seem to bother their communities either. So I don't know, maybe I was wrong about that one.
um, well, I guess I've been in that situation before, like both on the observer side and on the doing side. And for me, it's actually entertaining because I want to see the streamer make progress. I want to see you get past this obstacle.
Right.
So when it actually happens, I'm excited for them.
So I
Um,
should have kept going with the fish.
well, also I guess also if you're like visually upset, like then you should definitely stop
Yeah.
because then your audience is gonna feel bad for you
Yeah,
and
for
it's like,
sure.
oh yeah. Um, related question is like this isn't like the next question in the Discord yet, but I was wondering, you played Demon Souls for a little bit. What was your impression of that game?
Look, look. Souls-like games, not for me. They're not for
Yeah,
me. Again, I played that as because it was a community incentive that got met.
yeah.
So I gave them I did one stream of it. I think I did okay. I think
hmm
I did okay, but um those are not my style of games. I don't want to spend like hours learning how to beat a boss.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and yeah, that's not fun for me. I yeah. I am very impressed by people who like conquer those games,
hmm
but I don't need to be one of those people, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I want you to know that like we can't see each other right now because of how we're recording this, but I want you to know that I was shaking my head not because you gave up, but because that's one of the worst souls likes in my opinion to start with.
Oh yeah.
It now the Demon Souls you played, I believe that was the PS5 one.
Yes.
Um and it did have a lot of like quality of life stuff, but you still have to like you have to grind out heals if you don't have enough at certain points still. Um
I
so
think what
yeah.
happened, I didn't want to have to spend money on a game for this. So I
Mm,
gave my
mhm.
community a choice of, I think, three different Souls-like games that I had free access to, either because they were included
Okay.
on PS Plus at some point or
Mhm.
something along those lines. And that's the one that got chosen, but I can't remember now what the other options were.
Well, I hope one day you have a community challenge to play Elden Ring.
Oh no.
Um, get on it, chat.
Oh no.
All right. So before I ask this question for Mark, I never said at the beginning, but yeah, actually, Mark is how I met you.
Yes.
Um, and I remember when I was first in your stream and I was hearing you talk, I was like, yeah, she sounds Canadian to me. Um, and I could never just say, "Hey, are you Canadian?" Because that sounds like an assumption. I don't want to make an assumption about anybody. But to be fair, that is also the nicest assumption you can make of somebody. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I also do stream with the Canada tag. So I think
oh,
every
okay. I
single one
probably
of my
didn't notice
streams,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um
But
Yeah,
yeah,
like knows like. Canadians know each other.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, KansaiMarc, he was asking, what do you consider your biggest accomplishment since coming to the U.S.?
You know, I read this question
Hmm.
and I have no idea what to say. You know, um, I
um,
think like is it because I have problems recognizing my own achievements? I'm not sure. Um, but I don't know. I don't know, Gold. I feel like I spent so much
hmm,
time
hmm,
like not working, and I know like work is not the be all and end all. You know, that doesn't make
yeah, yeah,
who you are. But I
hmm,
suppose that I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I guess a lot of
hmm,
I think I put a lot of my own self-value on like contributing to the
hmm.
world in some way. And so um and not again, not like a job is the only way to do that either. I know this. Um but yeah, what is my biggest accomplishment since coming to the US? I have no idea.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, okay, so I guess I'm gonna ask some questions to follow up on Mark's question.
Sure.
So can you answer like what do you care about most as far as contributing to the, like the world being a better place? Or I don't know if that's too broad still, but
I mean it is fairly broad. Um
because my understanding is like what my understanding of what matters to you, at least if not the most, like a lot, is like the welfare of like animals, right?
sure. Yeah. Um
Um,
And I mean, I did spend some time volunteering at like local shelters. Um,
mhm,
but I don't know if that's a big accomplishment.
no.
Like, similarly, I mean, we're on a podcast right now. I ran a podcast for a while, which
Okay. What was it
was
about?
it was focused on bringing science to like a understandable general public level. So each week I would pick an article that I thought was new and
Mhm,
cool, and I would do research around it and try to present it in a way that was understandable to like a, the general public, to a non-scientist. And I still kind of do that. Like on stream, I have a science redeem,
right.
and that's my idea there as well.
Yeah.
Like I want to
Mhm.
talk about like what is happening. How are we working to improve our knowledge of the world? Like what is cool right now that's, you know, recently published, or yeah. What are we looking into as people?
So, I'm not in a position to say like what your biggest accomplishment is, but I can say something that you do well, which is I was listening in while you were giving a recap of Golden Sun,
Yeah.
and I think your recaps are really like informative if you like haven't been to like to like the previous stream, kind of like a last time on DrLeandra plays Golden Sun.
That's the idea.
Um, yeah, and I think that's been really helpful. And honestly, I was thinking like, dude, she should make a podcast of her recaps. So
Okay, so I've had chats. This has been an idea that has come up, not necessarily a podcast,
yeah,
but my friend who does my video editing for me,
hmm,
he suggested like, hey, we should just take all your recaps and smash them into a video.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so maybe we might still do that, and that
hmm,
might be a thing. Um, honestly, they're really, really fun. Uh, it's also really fun because they're so bad sometimes, and I'm really bad with names, and
yeah,
I forget the people's names, and I forget a lot of details. I'm very much a big picture, like,
mm, hmm,
story vibe person.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, hopefully there's some comedic value to them while also being marginally informative, I guess.
I'm wondering if people will be like you like give some descriptors and be like, oh, that guy's name, and they'll just like tell you.
Um,
Um,
Yes, so they do that afterwards. We've recently started a thing where I go into emote only mode during my recaps.
mhm.
Yeah, because people
Eh, eh,
were just like distracting me with other comments, and I
mm,
would read them and
yeah,
respond.
yeah.
But yeah, we've really been trying to focus in the recap.
Yeah, it's hard because you'll start talking about the recap, then you see a question, you start thinking about the question, then you stop thinking
Yeah.
about the recap.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, okay, so a question that I have, and this is a question that I ask everybody at the end, is if you were to give advice to someone starting out streaming, like what advice would you give them?
um, just do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is there have been multiple people in my community who started watching me and were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I kind of want to stream." And I was just like, "So do it. So go stream." Um, and like any advice beyond that really depends on what your goals are, I
Right.
suppose. Like, do you want to just have a good time? Then just have a good time. Are you
Mm-hmm.
looking to grow a community? Then you probably need to do some networking because
Right.
people
Yeah.
stumbling into your stream is quite rare.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to another stream and say hey and introduce yourself and start chatting, and I mean, not self
Mm-hmm.
promo, but
Yes,
like
yes.
networking and meeting people is very important.
Yeah. I think that's important. I think that's something that I've agreed with a lot of people I've talked to in the past is networking doesn't mean, hey, go watch my stream. Networking means just, just talk,
Yeah.
be friends, become friends.
Yeah. So I do this thing when I'm picking my raids, I like to mix it up. So
Mm-hmm.
occasionally I will raid a friend, someone I know is on and is playing maybe an RPG or not,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
just want to go support them in one day. But other days I'll look for who's playing the same game as me. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
go meet someone new
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
haven't raided before, that I haven't met
Mm-hmm.
before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really fun because I like meeting new people. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, for
on
sure.
Twitch for the social largely,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
And I think what's important to highlight about what you said is about doing it and also thinking about, why are you doing it?
Hmm.
Because once you know why you're doing it, then you can decide like how to proceed after that.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
All right. Well, yeah, that is this interview. You can again go check out Dr. Leandra, twitch.tv/ Doctor, DrLeandra, Dr. Leandra. And yeah, thank you for doing the interview with me,
Yeah. Thank you for
Dr. L.
asking, Gold. Thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
Bye.